Hi, welcome to our shir. This is Parshas Beraishis, Tavshin Pei Aleph, and it's a banner day for us here in the shir. Baruch Hashem, today we begin our 36th year of the shir. Mazel tov to all those who have been participating over the many, many years of the shir, and we're still here. Banner number 2 is that Baruch Hashem, this is our 100th shir on Torah Anytime. I want to give a shout out to Shimon Kol Yaakov and all the Torah Anytime team, and specifically Rabbi and Subar and my wife Chaya for all of the work they do to help produce the shir on a weekly basis. A lot of work. I want to thank Kol Lashon. We're almost up to shir 400, Baruch Hashem, and everybody else who's participated in the shir over the years, and of course our sponsor, Agudas Yisrael of America, who has enabled me to say this shir first in the Agudas Yisrael offices for many years, and of course we've been remote now for a number of months since the beginning of the COVID. Yetz Hashem, hopefully we'll get back to things, normal things soon. So we're up to Parshas Beraishis. Here we are, Baruch Hashem, we made it through Sukkah. As we said, Sukkah is a time of incredible chiddush. We asked at the end of our last shir how we can keep Miyala B'Har Hashem and Miyakim B'Makom Kadshay. How can we get to the top of the mountain on Yom Kippur and stay there? Yakim B'Makom Kadshay. And we gave a pshat at that time, and we said that the pasuk is a palindrome. It can be read both ways. So Miyala B'Har Hashem, who can get up to the Har Hashem, who can stay there? So if you've ever seen a mountain climber, when he gets to the top of the mountain, after who knows how much yigiyah and effort and training, v'chulu, he gets up there and he goes like this, and he shakes his hands, and he goes like this, and he's so excited, right? He's telling everybody he made it. He's so excited. But then he has to stay there. That's harder, because the excitement wears off. So we said, miyakum b'mkom kadshay, miyala bar Hashem. That the way to stay up there is to always feel fresh, to always feel that you just got there, to feel always that you just came, this is it, I made it. And that excitement. And we can always have that excitement every minute that we're up there, then we can stay there. And the truth is, the Kasha is asked why Sukkah is 4 days after Yom Kippur. Why? What Sukkah is Mayin, Sukkah is Yom Kippur? And I was thinking that Sukkah has everything is Chiddush in Sukkah. Everything. Very different than Pesach. Pesach, you have the same laning during Chol Hamoed, and you have different laning, but it doesn't go in the same, in an order. And on Sukkot, there's an order, you're moving up, you're moving up, you're moving up. There's a chiddush. Every day is a new ushpizin. Every day you have Ram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Yosef, Moshe, Aaron, David, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, David, depending. So you have a chiddush every day. There's the lulav and esrog. You make more shachianus than any other time. You're making 4 shachianus if you're in Chutz La'aretz. It's always new, new, new. And that's what we need. And that's what Sukkot keeps the excitement going. Simchas Torah, Hoshana Rabbah, Shmini Atzeres. There's always new things happening. So we always have to feel that excitement and newness. And what better than when we start Parshas Beraishis and we feel that intense excitement of newness, of a new starting over the Torah. It's so geschmack, we're so pumped. That's the way to keep the Yal of Har Hashem and the Yavam Gum Kadshay. So let us share a vort, something, machshava that I've had for many years ago, and I've shared it to Bezos Hashem. It tells us when Adam, after Adam Yadas as Chava Ishtai, tells us in the beginning of Perek Daled, tells him Adam got together with Chava, Vatahar, and she became pregnant, Vateiler as Cain, and she gives birth to Cain. Vataimer, and she says, Kanisi Ish es Hashem. A man has been kind to Hashem, however we understand that. And the next pasuk says, "V'taisa lettuce as Hevel, as Achiv as Havel." He has his brother, he has Havel. V'Hevel rayit soin, Hevel's rayit soin. Kain hayi oived adama. So Ma'aseh Sefer in the Beraishis, the Heilig Rabbi, he says, Kain was a balgaiva. Brings some Zohar. Kain was a balgaiva. How do you know Kain was a balgaiva? I mean, it could be from what he did. We can extrapolate. But I'd like to say that Cain was a balgaiva. I'd like to, my own pshat, that maybe because of what happened to Cain, as we'll see in these psukim, and make a diuk in these psukim. But to get there, I want to tell a story. A b'didi havi of the story. So many years ago, I had a friend, and the friend, Layalena, didn't have children for many years, more than a decade, didn't have children. And then Baruch Hashem, after almost a decade, he had children, and he had a little son, and he made a bris. And I went to the bris. I traveled, it's out of town city, and I traveled, and it was a beautiful thing. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people were there. It was like the whole city was there. And then Baruch Hashem, he had many other children. And then he had his last, at the end, he had his last son was born. And he gave a very powerful speech at the bris of the last son. And he said, you know, when my first son was born, it was after the whole city came and people came over to me and I didn't even know them. And they said, you know, I've been davening for you, you've been in my Rifa'enu and my Tilim. For years I've been davening. And I feel so excited that your simcha is my simcha, and therefore I came here for the bris. And he said, you know, the bris had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And he says, this bris is less people because, you know, Baruch Hashem, we've had children, it's vachadik, it's so on. It's the same, things haven't, you know, people are used to it. He said, it's a mistake. He said, just like the first child deserved balloons, and he deserved a big Suda, and he deserved mazel tovs, and he deserved excitement, so does the last child deserve it. That child also deserves what the first child had. There should be no difference because he was the first and he was the last. Every child is precious. Every child is special. Every child deserves balloons. And that's what he said. And I had been besophic if I should travel to that bris or not, because I had the same feeling. It's, you know, they had a bunch of kids already, you know. The excitement's wore off. And I said, you know, I'm going to go. I said, I'm going to go. I have Ava for him. I want to go. And I went. And after that speech, I was so happy. But it taught me an enormous lesson. The enormous lesson is that every child deserves balloons. Every child is choshev. Every child deserves what every other child has. And just because one came first in the family, one came last in the family, that should not make a difference to us. Every child should have our love. And I think that might be, perhaps if we look in the Psukim, we might see a little bit that this is what happened to Cain and Hevel. Let's learn the Psukim. If you have a Chumash in front of you, it'll be Mayurdik, because you'll see the diuk on Shabbos when you sit and listen to Leinim. Let's learn the Psukim again. Va'adam yades chavi ishtay. V'atahar. So it says, it makes a point of V'atahar. It makes a point that she became pregnant. She's ready to have a child. V'atelet is Cain. And she gives birth to Cain. V'atoymen, she says, we have a beautiful name. I'm going to tell you why I named him Cain. Beautiful name. Kanishi Isas Hashem. Man has been kind of the Rebbeinu. Man has been kind of greatness, sanctity. It's sacred. Kanisi from Cain. Cain means Kinyan. Yesh. Somebody is an epis. And then it says, V'atoysa. Now let's see how the pasuk deals with the way they looked at his brother, Hevel. V'atoysif laledas. No more V'atahar. Just she gives birth again. As Achiv. He's not himself. He's not his own person. He's the brother of the first one. And as Havel. And what a name did they give him? Havel. You know what Havel means? Garnished. Havel Havel Amar Kelos Hakol Havel. So one is doesn't say V'atahar. Two, it doesn't say, it says that the letter says Achiv, just portrays him as the brother. And three, it gives him a name, Hevel. So I think this is the answer to the Zaydas Kasha. Cain became a Balgaiva, because if you look at the way they treated Cain, they gave a beautiful name. The V'atahar, the minute she became pregnant, everyone's excited. They're getting ready for their child. And they name him Cain, they give him a beautiful name, Kanisi Hashem. And Hevel's just the younger brother. Hevel's garnished. So we see where Cain could become a Balgaiva. And that could set in a chain of motion that Chas v'Shalom led eventually to the interaction between Cain and Hevel, which turned Cain into Reitzeach and turned Hevel, Nebuch, to the Olam Emes. So we learn such an important, such a beautiful, such a wonderful lesson about the importance of treating every single person equally, every child equally, and for that matter, every adult. That we should never look at one person and feel because he doesn't maybe have the wealth, or he doesn't have the brains, or he doesn't have, whatever it is that the other one has, that therefore we should treat one over the other. Every single Yid is a Tzelem Elokim. Every single person is precious. Every single person is who we want them to be. So that was just a machshava. I wanted to share a first machshava. And then we have, the second thing is we talk about the Eight Saddas, Taiva. And we want to know why, what did Kadosh Baruch Hu put this Eight Saddas Taiva? What was the lesson of the Eight Saddas Taiva? You can't eat from it. I mean, everything else you can eat from, an Eight Saddas Taiva you can't eat from. So I heard from Reb Shmuel Gluck that he said a very nice thing. He was comparing Gehazi and Yonasan, the son of Shaul. When the son of the Shunamis was Nifter, so Eliyahu gave to Gehazi, he gave the scepter, he gave his mata, his staff, and he said, put it on the child. And don't talk to anybody when you go. Don't say a word. This is your job. He goes and he's bragging and he's telling everybody, Eliyahu gave me the staff. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. What, a staff's going to be mechayas somebody else? That doesn't work. Of course, when he got there, it didn't work. And he came back to the Navi, and the Navi had to do it himself to be mechayah, the Tsunamis. On the other hand, Yonasan, the son of Shaul, went into battle with the Plishtim with two people, with him and his son, and his arm bearer, with his assistant, and they won a war against thousands. What's the difference between the two? And the answer, he says, is one believed in a koyach of amun of Hashem in things we don't understand. We don't understand how a mata can be mechayim mason, but if you have a moon, it'll work. And Yonasan had a munah that a Kadosh Baruch Hu can win a battle with two people or with 100,000 people. We know by Gideon, he originally started out with thousands of warriors and ended with 300, and he won the battle. So he gives a mashal. He says, we drive a car, we don't know what goes under the hood. We don't have any, believe me, I don't have any understanding why it works. I have no understanding why a computer works. I have no understanding why my printer works. I don't understand any of this. Does it matter? No. So he says the specific question he was answering is people ask him, why are there nanuim, where we shake the lulav this way and that way? What does the shofar accomplish? And the answer is it does. It accomplishes great things. Even if we don't understand them, we don't know why they happen. But that's what we believe. That's our amunah. Our amunah is that not everything we have to understand. Gehazi felt, if I can't understand the mata, it can't work. Yonasan understood that I don't have to understand and I can still believe it will work. And that's perhaps the lesson of the Eight Saddas Taiva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is starting a new world. And he's putting it, Adam. And Adam it says he could see the world. Adam was a genius. Adam knew everything. Right? Adam was beyond our wildest conception what he knew. But there were going to be things that he didn't know. There are going to be things he didn't understand. Will he still do the Ratzon HaBorei, even if he didn't understand it? And that's the lesson that Kadosh Baruch Hu was teaching with the Eight Saddas Taiva. There's certain things you're not going to understand on them. I've taught you almost everything, but I'm going to leave certain things. You know, they're Ninshari Bina. There are 50 levels of understanding. We only get 49. Because there's always one that Kadosh Baruch Hu is reserving to let us know that no matter how much we know, there's more that we don't know. If you talk to an Erlich scientist, he'll tell you there's far more. The more we know we don't know. The more you know about the stars and whatever, the astronomy, the more you know that you don't know. And that's the lesson of the Eight Saddas Taiva. So Baruch Hashem, I think we've had two good lessons today. We've learned the lesson of each person being an individual. Each person should be treated the same. It shouldn't be that Kain is Kanisi is Hashem and Hevel is the Hevel garnished and just his brother and no balloons. And we learned a tremendous lesson of what we know and what we don't know. So Baruch Hashem, as we said, today is our 100th share in Torah Anytime. We're close to 400 on Kol Lashon. And Baruch Hashem, we're here. It's been a rough 6 months in Klal Yisrael in the world. Unfortunately, Adayinu Marakid B'neinu, we're not finished with it. So we daven hard for the gesund of every single member of Klal Yisrael. And we daven hard that the impact of it, with all of the, we say mental health disturbances, that the kids not being in school, that the parents being out of jobs, all the things that happen, we should all be able to have the understanding to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does things that we don't understand. We don't understand everything. That's the secret, that's the key to our success and to our emunah. So all have a good Shabbos, and as Hashem, we look forward to many, many happy Parshas to come.